Good morning, KZSB. This is Arwen Lewis, and you're listening to the Arwen Lewis Show. And I've been lucky to have been brought on to the Jeremiah Show to have a segment that gets to feature local musical artists and independent artists from around the country. And today we have a duo, husband and wife, Caitlyn and Aaron Salazar from Orchid, California. Their name is About Time. And we're here promoting the Hitching Post concert series on Sunday afternoons out at the Hitching Post 2 Tasting Room in Buellton, California. We have two more concerts coming up. This one that features About Time is on Sunday, July 2nd from 2 to 4. And then you can also catch the last one on Sunday, July 9th from 2 to 4, featuring Jacob Cole. And so let me welcome our guests, Caitlyn and Aaron. Hi, how's it going?
Great.
Hi, thanks.
So happy to be here.
Well, thanks for showing up.
For sure.
So you both came from Orchid. And are you both from Orchid?
Well, I'm from Santa Maria, which is pretty much like for a long time when you say Orchid, you just say Santa Maria. So yes. Yes.
Okay.
Caitlin's got a more interesting story.
We moved there when I was a kid. My dad was in the military. So yeah, I was born in Montana, lived in Nebraska for a beat, but most of my childhood, I was 7 when we moved to Santa Maria.
And did both of you play music from a very early age? I know you both met very young, and I wanted to hear about that too. Your website says you met in the playground at school. What grade was that? And then when did you start playing music together?
Well, we met, I was in the 4th grade, Caitlin was in the 3rd grade. And as a kid, I'd always been drawn to music. If there was a piano at somebody's house who I was, visiting, I'd always go check it out. So always had an affinity for music as a kid for sure.
Yeah, I mean, same. I could sing when I started to talk, and I always knew I wanted to sing, and that was my greatest passion. And took up the piano first and the guitar super young age, 5 and 6, and always was my lifeblood. And we definitely connected with music when we were kids through school. Yeah.
And when did you start your duo and writing songs together and recording and performing?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, we've been friends since kids. We really got together as adults in 2012 and moved in together in 2014 and started gigging and writing and making something our own. Yeah.
Because we had both been musicians separately for a long time. And, even in high school, like I was the singer of a punk rock band, and we used to get, banned from coffee shops around town. And Caitlin was the president of her choir in high school, and she toured Europe and sang in cathedrals and, all that stuff. So we had, very different stories when it came to our musical backgrounds. But then when we finally got together as a couple, we didn't just start playing together. I mean, we would play, but it wasn't like, let's do this as a duo. And it wasn't for a couple of years. And that's where the name About Time comes from, because when we started to play together, we were finally like, well, it's about time. So, yeah.
It was about time we started playing together. It was about time we were together.
Mm-hmm.
He took me to a high school dance. I mean, yeah, we have a long history together, but it was, we were just 2 little shy creatives, and we never really made it anything until we finally were adults, and we're like, oh yeah, it's on.
And so you describe your sound as cosmic California rock, which I totally agree with.
Nice.
Really nice fusion. For me, I hear a lot of soul, blues, rock, country, and a little reggae in there too, which is awesome. Would you say that since you both came from such different backgrounds as far as expressing yourself musically, that had an influence on the way you created this fusion band, or what inspired you to perform so many different genres under one name?
Well, I think, first and foremost, because we love all those genres of music.
Yeah.
And they've influenced us throughout our lives. And, definitely, in my voice too, just loving to sing different genres. And yeah, I think we just decided this is what we love. And, what came out of us as we were writing were some songs were a little country, some songs were a little, grungier, some songs were a little more, harmonious. And yeah, then we both love reggae. And since I've started playing the bass, since we're playing together, I've really fallen in love with reggae too. So yeah, it has an influence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely rubbed off on each other too, because Caitlyn's voice is so powerful and so polished that I had to change my guitar approach a little bit and like really like get my chops up totally, but be able to like learn different styles and touches to like accent lead vocalist rather than just let's just play loud and let's just go full force, and whether or not you can hear the vocals isn't a big deal, but so definitely got influenced that way.
Right. Your voice is much more of an instrument. And like punk rock is like everything's just together and it's just kind of this like, I don't know. It's all kind of one awesome sound, right? And then everything's just kind of meshed together and you're just kind of throwing that at the audience because that's to me like the vibe of punk, which I love. I've always loved punk music. But I really hear that when I listen to your recordings, like all of like it's like the drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocals, and if you've got some harmonica or any other random interesting instrument, they're all in harmony and kind of like talking to each other. And I think that's really beautiful. And that's just an aspect of rock and live music that I really appreciate. And so I've seen you, so you play the bass and sing, and do you also have a band? I wanted to ask you because I've only seen you as a duo, but do you play with a live band?
Yeah, we'll have a drummer come out and we'll play as a trio for like bigger performances, and
Okay,
we've gotten to play the Clam Fest at Pismo.
nice.
So we had a drummer for that, and more like outdoor stuff where we're able to get louder. Yeah,
Cool.
we'll get the
Yeah,
drummer going.
bigger stages popping up here and there on the Central Coast, and bigger opportunities, to open for some bands. And wow, that's such a compliment. Thank you, Arwen, what you said. And yeah, we're wanting to develop as a band more so, no matter what, it's us, and we can definitely hold our own as a duo, but we would like to, yeah, expand for sure. And it was cool to get to do that on the album and in a way, and think about the bigger parts and all the additions that can happen. And yeah.
Yeah, so did you two co-produce it or who produced your album?
Yeah, we did with a friend of ours.
Nice.
Yeah, we recorded at Castaway 7 Studios, which is in Ventura,
Okay.
and JP Hesser is the owner of that, and he first was more just engineer role, but then as we got to know each other and we started to like bounce ideas off of him, then he kind of like had more production ideas too, so he definitely helped guide us and produce part of the album. But at the end of the day it was really like, well, what do you guys want to do? And for me it was like my first experience in a studio like that, so it was a big learning experience, and just trying new stuff, and but also having to like think about time restrictions and money restrictions. And so yeah, but for the most part we produced it, but we did have help from JP.
And I think because I've, had some experience recording too, and my engineer on my last project totally like he did the same thing, just gave me a lot of really good advice that I wouldn't have, thought of because when you're creating, with one person or like a couple people from a band, it's like three people's perspective, and you've been listening to it so much, and you're kind of set in stone with what you've created. But when you have an expert, and especially a sound engineer who's also a musician, I think it's kind of nice to take in their advice and open, and especially when you have the creative decision at the end of the day, like what's going to go and what's going to stay. I think it's actually kind of a blessing to have somebody like that engineer your record because it just, I don't know, opens it up and, creates less of a limit on the music, I think.
Completely. And we really connected with JP, and he is a, awesome musician. And, at the end of the day, he wanted to play keys on the song. And we took one of those songs and we just really, got really fun with it and just did whatever we felt like trying out to see if it worked. And yeah, it was awesome to have that perspective for sure. And I had one other, experience solo in the studio and for a small album of mine. And, it was a different experience. And this whole experience with our album About Time was just really wonderful and collaborative and inspiring. And we came out of the studio inspired for more and like excited about all the possibilities instead of being like, oh, I'm so glad that's over. It was like never like that.
Well, you can really hear that in the music too. Like it really lifts you up. Like I can tell, like that's the kind of CD, like if I'm tired, if I, whatever, bad mood, turn that About Time record on and I'm going to be feeling good in just about 2 seconds.
Yeah, thank you.
That's such a compliment.
We also have to mention George Lambert, who plays the drums, but he was also a big part of making the album happen. So he was a producer in that way. He plays with a band called Paradise Kings here in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And we started playing with him and he really liked our music. And it was actually his idea to record it full on and go into the studio. And originally it was like, well, let's, take a weekend or record live and get it done. And then we get in there and it's like, whoa, wait a second. We can overdub and we can, put
add
on the
these
2
parts.
guitars
Yeah.
and oh, look, there's bongos over there. And you know what I mean? So then it expanded and we ultimately spent 9 days. It started as 3, became 9. And George was really generous and like cool for giving us that opportunity and letting us try different stuff. And
he trusted us.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, you guys, let's treat the songs right. Let's do them justice. And but at the end of the day too, he's like, well, okay, that's enough takes,
Yeah. We got to know when to
on
stop.
a little bit. And there was one instance where, it was me, Caitlyn, and JP, and we're like, messing with delay effects. And it's like, he's recording and George walks in and he's got this look like, what are you kids up to? It's like, we're looking around like busted, but it turned out to work really well. And it's one of our favorite things. That little creative session was one of our favorite parts of the album. So.
Yeah, I'll say like, I love all the sounds that I was hearing. And then there's one song in particular where you've got kind of like a dry vocal where it sounds like you're singing into like an old school mic. I can't remember. What song is that?
Oh yeah, we like to call that our garage rock song.
Yeah.
Come Alive.
Come Alive,
yeah. And then we're playing 7 tracks from the record today on the show in our breaks, but also you're going to perform a song for us live here, right? What song is this?
We're going to play Gotta Play the Game.
Gotta Play the Game. Okay. And then what instruments, really quick before I set you up, what are you going to play for us today?
We're going to do acoustic version of this song. Usually when we're full out, I'm playing the bass and singing. Aaron's the guitar master and the harmonica and vocals with me. So today it'll be harmonica, acoustic, and vocals. And yeah, this is a special song to us. We wrote it kind of earlier on. We were hustling and I was serving tables and Aaron was student teaching, getting his credential. And we were just, trying to do what we love, but also, hustling the day to day to make it happen. So yeah, this is a fun song. We kind of like to call it our Old Orchid theme song.
Nice. Well, got to play the game. Let's hear it.